Hey guys, it has been a hot minute since I've sat down in front of this camera and filmed a video. I changed my lights just now. I don't know if that was a good choice or a bad choice. I used to have them stacked on top of each other. Right now I have them side by side, and I feel like the lighting is better now than it was before, but I can't tell because I'm blind right now with all these lights in my face. It's been a minute. So let me know what you guys think. I don't know if you'll even notice a difference. It is the first time I have sat down and filmed since before Hawaii. Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks and I'm really glad to be back in front of the camera. I'm gonna do a try to get ready with me today. Big shocker there. But I have a lot to talk about and I feel like I can't move on into other subjects, just talking about makeup launches and reviews and stuff like that until I get some stuff off my chest. It's all good, nothing bad. And I just wanna relax, put some makeup on. I said this on my Insta stories. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you definitely should, because I said this on my Insta stories and I feel like it's such a truth. Tell me if you are a makeup person, which I imagine if you're watching this, you are. Do you ever go through times where you're like, I loathe makeup. I hate it, burn. I don't want it anywhere near me and I'm not gonna wear it for 2.5 weeks and I'm not gonna leave my house. That was me for a while. And now I'm in a place where I'm looking at all of this makeup sitting in front of me and I'm so inspired by it. I go through ebbs and flows and ups and downs, and right now I'm in the up where I'm really inspired to just like do some makeup. So that's what we're gonna do today. And if you have not subscribed yet, please do if you feel like seeing more of me in your life. If not, that's cool too, but also a little hurtful. All right, so let's just put makeup on. I am going to start with my foundation. I know. While I was away in Hawaii with Tarte, if you guys did not see the video yet, I will link it up here. I went to Hawaii, Oahu in particular, with Tarte Cosmetics, and to be invited was a dream come true. It was honestly the highlight of my life so far. In all of the things I think I've ever done, it was probably my favorite week ever because it was so chill. I felt incredible the whole time, and I mean, when I say good, I mean like fucking good. I felt better than I've ever felt, just health-wise, next level, radiating positivity that week. It was just one of the best weeks of my life, and I just can't get over it. So if you have not seen the vlog yet, I worked really hard on it and I love it so much, and for the amount of you that did watch it, thank you so much. Vlogs generally get like a third of the amount of views of my other videos, and this one's doing very well, and I'm really happy with how you're all receiving it. It was such a dream come true of a trip, and I had a blast. So if you guys haven't seen it, I will link it up here and you guys can watch it. But on that trip, Tarte released a new foundation. It's called the Foundcealer. Now, I'm not going to go too much into depth about that. This video is not about makeup products in general, but that's the foundation I'm going to be using today. They sent us with, well, on the trip, the first day we got there, they gave us little jars of the foundation. It hadn't released yet, so they hadn't given us the full spectrum of everything. I do have full bottles of it now, but I want to go through the little sample pots first. And I wore this every single day that I was on the trip, and then I've worn it multiple times since I got home. The amount of comments I've had, particularly people being like, what are you wearing on your skin? It's this. Now, I'm gonna give a real quick disclaimer. Because I went on this trip with Tarte, a lot of people aren't going to take my review as honest. It's a point of contention for a lot of people, and rightfully so. When there is a connection with a brand and an influencer, it's really hard to take what that influencer says at face value, because you think, well, they're going to obviously give it a positive review because they wanna work with the brand or go on another trip with them in the future. I don't care about that. If the product wasn't good, I would just let you know that it didn't work for me. So far, I really like it. I do have some things to say about it, and I don't know if you guys want a full review on it. I've worn it about 6 or 7 times now, and I've worn it like for one day, I think I wore it for like 14 hours. The other one was like 10. The other day was like 16. So I've gotten a lot of wear out of it, but I understand if you think my review, like I don't want to waste my time doing a review that people are gonna be like, well, we can't trust that anyway. You know what I mean? And I don't think the brand would even care if I didn't like it, because everyone has their own opinions, you know? Some people love a matte foundation. Some people love a dewy. This is my cup of tea kind of foundation because it's very natural finish. It's got a really nice buildable coverage. I understand if you won't believe me, but this is not sponsored. They have not told me anything to say about this. They didn't say I ever had to talk about it again. I just thought, because I'm such a skin-focused person, that you guys might be interested in hearing my thoughts on the foundation. Let me know what you think. If you guys are all like, yeah, we can't trust your review on it, I won't even waste my time, even though I will state it, and I don't feel like I should need to because I've never lied to you guys in my life, but it would be an honest review. So anyway, I'm not going to talk about this right now. I'm just going to put it on. You guys can see as I talk to you about everything, but let me know if you guys would like a review on it. So I've been self-tanning, so this foundation is going to be a bit darker than my average foundation because I self-tanned before we went to Hawaii. I did, and then I did once after because it was so nice to be tan. But this one I left on for overnight. You're supposed to leave it on for 2 hours and then wash it off. And I left it on for like 10 hours and washed it off. I wouldn't do that if I were you. I wouldn't leave your self tanner on that long, probably. I know some people do, but for me, when I did, I feel like it just developed a little too much. And the first time I used it, I only left it on for 2 hours. And when I washed it off, it was such a natural look. And then this time, it does look beautiful, but it's not as natural. And then you can see this color matched me before, and now it is way too light. And if that says something, this is darker than my normal foundation would be. Like I said, I felt so good the whole time we were there. No cluster headaches, not even a twinge of pain. It was just like the most ideal week I've ever had. I couldn't have asked for a better experience. Just in general, overall, it was perfect 10 out of 10. The trip, we were supposed to come home on Wednesday, but we extended it until Saturday, and we went and visited the rest of the island. If you guys live in Hawaii or if you have never visited or anything, highly suggest. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. I can't think of a better, more beautiful place. The food is delicious. The people were friendly. The sights were unbelievable looking. The views everywhere, the smell of the air, just experience overall, it felt like such an idyllic place to be. And the entire time we were there, I was like internally crying. I've looked at real estate already because as soon as we got there, it felt like my body shifted into a state of pain-free that I've never experienced before. And it could have just been because I was less stressed, because I was happy. It could be a combo of everything. But let me tell you, when I say pain-free, I mean most mornings that I wake up, most mornings, okay, at home, I'll explain to you the way that I feel. I can feel my head, and that's like a really weird way to describe it, but I can feel, it's not pain necessarily, but it feels like I know I'm gonna be in pain. And then as the day progresses, it gets worse and worse. And generally by noon to 2 p.m., I will get a cluster headache and I'll have to take the pill, which is today, actually. I had to take one today. But I can feel my head the moment I wake up. Like every morning I wake up, I'm like, ugh, I just kind of feel like crap. I have to go drink my coffee immediately and just kind of sit there in the morning and like relax for at least an hour after I wake up because I just don't feel good. But when I woke up in Hawaii every day, I mean, from the moment we landed to the moment I woke up the next morning, I was like, oh my God, not even a twinge of pain. And I'm not even talking like nothing. I felt perfectly normal, like before I got diagnosed with cluster headaches. It felt like the way you're supposed to feel. And every morning I would wake up, and I woke up early there. I took full advantage of the day. It was almost just like it reset my body being there. I've traveled quite a few times. I was in Mexico, I was in Miami. So I've been in other warm climates, but never in those climates even did I feel the way I felt in Hawaii. As soon as I stepped off the plane, it was like, I don't know, it was like something entered my body and I felt perfect, and it made me not want to leave, and it made me want to live there because, oh my gosh, and it could just be total placebo. It could just be my mind tricking me. It may not even have any real bearing on life. And I might move there and still have cluster headaches, you know, but at least for the week that I was there, it was the best week of my life. I felt perfect. I felt happy. My mood was stable. I was just in bliss, and it made me realize that Pacific Northwest, while it is beautiful, and I've lived here my entire life, and I love it here. I love Washington. I think it's so beautiful. I don't feel good here, and maybe it's like the weather, maybe it's the pressure. I don't know what it is. I feel like I normally feel here. And then when I went somewhere else and felt, maybe people say Hawaii has a healing air. I'm gonna use a Colourpop no filter. Shocking, I know. But anyway, without going into this topic for too long, I'm 12 minutes into the video already. I want to move there. And I know that everyone probably visits Hawaii and is like, I gotta move here because it's so beautiful. And it makes you realize when you're there and you're like so blissfully happy and you're like having the best time of your life, you're like, why don't I live here? But I feel like that's a very normal tourist experience because it is paradise. Like, you can't deny. I mean, if you've ever been there before, you know what I mean. For me, it goes so much deeper than that because mine is so related to the way I feel. And just if that could be how I could feel, I would move to Hawaii. The only thing stopping me, because I could work from anywhere. I can, you know, the job that I have, I can work from anywhere. The only thing stopping me is that my family lives here and I would never want to leave them. I would never want to leave Avery. She's 7 years old now. She's my niece, if you didn't know. And she's the light of my life. Like, I love her with my entire being. And she's so special to me that I could never imagine missing her childhood. Like, if she had a little Christmas play or if she had any of that. And I know that moving away doesn't mean you miss things, because you can fly back. Like I can fly back. It's not that far. It's only a 6-hour flight. It's not really that. It's more like the little things, like going over and having dinner on the weekends, or, you know, all that stuff I feel like becomes increasingly more difficult. But, and this is so crazy because I was only there for a week, and I think I might go there and like spend a little bit of an extended period of time there. Maybe I'll go for like a 3-week period or something, or 2.5 weeks or something, and go stay there and visit all the different islands and stuff to see, because it sounds so hasty, but I felt so good there that if by any chance I could feel like that again, I need to. It was so good. To imagine that I could even reduce the frequency of them to a point where I could just like live a normal life. Like we snorkeled, we went and we had all this different kinds of food. I drank alcohol. I cannot do that stuff in my daily life. I can't sleep in. I can't sleep on my left side. I have to sleep on my right side or my back. I sleep on my left side because that's the area I get my cluster headaches. It's like, it's weird because it's almost like the blood rushes to that side of my head and I get an attack, and I have to drink coffee every morning immediately right on the dot or I get an attack. I can't drink alcohol. I can't be around cigarettes. Not that I would want to. I can't eat sugar. I have to be super careful about what I eat, and all of these things. Like there's so many things that I have to be like super mindful of and careful of, or I will get an attack. And I did all of those things when I was in Hawaii. No issue. No problem. Just blissful, pain-free deliciousness. Anyway, I'm gonna quit talking about my pain now, but I think that I've heard this. I posted about it on either my Insta stories or Twitter, and a ton of my followers reached out and they were like, when I go to Hawaii, my arthritis pain is better. Some people were like, my MS feels better when I'm in Hawaii. And I found out this crazy statistic from my eye doctor, actually, because my eyes have been really bad lately. And so I went and got an eye exam done, and we were talking about multiple sclerosis because I had another eye doctor test me for that. He was looking in my eyes for, I can't remember what it was, but there was something in my eyes that he could see that would alert him towards MS, because I was having like really, really bad peripheral vision and like a blind spot in my right eye. And he tested me for it and said he didn't see the concerning thing. But then I brought that up to my new eye doctor. I was like, yeah, I have had that test before. And he said, oh, a ton of my eye patients have MS. And I was like, really? He said, well, we are in the MS capital of the world. And I was like, wait, what do you mean by that? And he said that in the Pacific Northwest, the incidence of getting multiple sclerosis is 3 times higher. I did not know that, and I think they attribute it to lack of vitamin D or something, and I'm not completely sure. That's crazy, and I just wonder, what that's all about. I wonder if my condition is also more prevalent in these colder climates. And you know, it's just so fascinating to me. So I've been kind of looking things up, and we've actually weirdly, I don't know if it's, I'm hasty. It's so weird because in my life, I'm not a fly by the seat of my pants type of bitch. I plan things out and I like to know kind of what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. But in other areas of my life, I'm the most impulsive person in the world. It's so weird because I'll be like, okay, what are we going to eat? And it'll take me like 4 hours to decide what we're going to eat for dinner. But then I'll be like, oh, let's buy that house right now. Go put an offer in. It's like so weird. I'm so impulsive about like the things you shouldn't be impulsive about. But like deciding to go on a weekend trip, I'm like, okay, we need someone to take care of our cats. We need this, we need that. What are we going to eat on this day? What are we going to do? Or what do we do? Have we checked in the hotel? I'm such a freak about certain things, but then things that really matter, like buying a house, I'm like, put an offer in. Haven't even looked at it. I don't care. I don't know why I'm like that. And then I always regret it later and like beat myself up about my terrible decision-making skills. One thing to note about this foundation, if you haven't tried it, this is a mixture of skincare and foundation. And when that happens, apparently, it makes the foundation very sticky. Now, don't let that deter you. I would recommend, if you are interested in this foundation, to go get a sample of it from Sephora. I say that with everything. Like, just go get a sample. You don't have to commit to anything. No price, no money. Just go get a nice sample of it, and a little goes a long way of this. It's very thick and sticky. It doesn't feel sticky or uncomfortable on your skin at all, but because it is infused with skincare ingredients, it's like, oh, she's a thick bitch. But anyway, we've been looking at houses on all the islands, and man, you ever want to feel poor? Look at real estate in Hawaii. It's crazy. But you know what? Real estate in general. So we remodeled our house last year. You guys still haven't seen the finished thing because we haven't finished painting all the rooms, and there's still some unfinished portions. I promise you it's coming eventually. It's just painting is the bane of my existence. I'm trying to save money by being a cheap ass bitch. I don't want to hire painters, even though I know it'll get done faster. It's like, it's hard for me to hire somebody to do something that I could just do by not being a lazy bitch. but at the same time, like, I don't want to do it, so it's not getting done because painting is just the worst in my opinion. We remodeled our house last year, and I love the way the inside of our house looks, but we live in an area that's not very secluded. There's always cars you can hear There's always cars you can hear in the background. We go outside and we don't want to be outside because we have just a ton of neighbors and we're ready to live like hermits. All right, we're ready to live in the middle of nowhere. And I've been looking at real estate, not that I want to sell my house or anything. It sounds awful to go through the whole like buying and selling process again. Buying a house sounds really fun, but it's the literal worst. I hated the whole buying process, and when we bought this house I was like, I'm never doing this again. We're gonna live here till we're 80. Because while my house is so beautiful now on the inside, I realized that I never leave it because I like the inside of it so much, but I don't like the neighborhood that we live in, that I don't go outside, and I'm such an outdoorsy person. Outdoors, I think that's why I liked Hawaii so much, because outdoors makes me blissfully happy. It's the literal best in my opinion. Okay, so I know I'm not a powder person, but lately I have been taking just like a tad bit of loose powder and setting my under eyes and eyelids just like a tad bit, because I have been, you see how it's creasing? I have been creasing just a bit, and it's been really helping. I mean, when I talk about a tad bit of powder, I'm talking like, I'm not baking, I'm like really tapping off the powder and like, boom. Just a tiny little bit. This is the Huda Beauty Poundcake powder. You can use any powder that you have. But I'm such an outside person that I've discovered that I never go out there. Even in Washington, where it's so beautiful. I mean, Pacific Northwest is a beautiful place. It's because we live in an area that's so populated by people. I find myself, I'm very lonery. Not that I hate people, but like, get the fuck away from me. I kind of do, and I just like to be alone. I like to live alone. I like to be away from a lot of traffic and stuff going on. I'm a very private person, and we bought this house when we were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and excited to own a home, and I can't believe I'm even going to admit this on camera, and I'm embarrassed to even say this, but you know, for the sake of just being honest, we bought the first home we looked at. We did not look at more than one home. We walked into this house, seeing all the stuff it needed, looking at no other homes, and go, sold. And again, that's my impulsive side. That's what I do. I'm so the person that goes, I see it, I like it, I want it, I got it. Not in a good Ariana Grande way, but in a, Kristi, maybe you should have looked at 2 houses. Maybe 2 houses would have been good. So I set myself up for frustration and failure, and oh dear, that's looking very muchly red. It's the cool thing I like about not fully setting your foundation though, is if you do a little much, bada boom, bada bing, done. Yep, I did that with this house. I'd never admitted that before, but both Zach and I, we looked at this house, we thought, we can fix it. And we bought it immediately. And while I don't necessarily regret buying it because we bought at a really good time, so we got a really good deal on this house, it's not our dream house. It's in a neighborhood that we don't really love living in. And we're ready to just become the recluse hermits that we've always been meant to be. We're destined to be in the middle of nowhere. It's what we like. It's just who we are. And we always have been those people. We've always been the type of people that like to live secluded, and we don't really leave our house anyway, so it would behoove us to live in an area that was surrounded by nature and nobody else. So, we are possibly, and I don't know if we are, I don't know, we're thinking about it. We're thinking about moving, and we've been looking, but real estate right now, bitch, it is crazy. When we were buying a home years ago, before the market got to what it is now, a $500,000 house would have been, I mean, in Washington. I don't know about anywhere else in the world, but I'm just discussing Washington right now. A $500,000 house in Washington a few years ago, when we bought our home 4 or 5 years ago, stunning, huge, massive, gorgeous entryway, beautiful floors, in a great location on acreage. Now, if your budget is less than $1 million, you ain't getting a nice house. It's crazy. We were looking on Zillow and Redfin, and we were going through everything. And damn it, if you can find anything less than $1 million. And I'm talking, that's not my budget, but I'm looking out and I'm going, we can't buy a house. Isn't in our price range anymore. And it's weird because the market has changed so much so in the last few years that I can't even believe it. When I'm looking on Zillow, I remember when we were looking for a house, there was one on the water, on a cliff. This is real. On a cliff, overlooking the ocean, full windows. It had a pool and a jacuzzi, and it was $1.2 million. And I remember looking at that and going, never could I ever. Okay. When we were looking yesterday, we saw, it was like a triple wide trailer on 4 acres of land for $900,000. What? It's just crazy how things have changed. So that house now that was 1.2 million, which obviously we were looking at and like, oh, one day if we win the lottery. Now that house that's 1.2 million before would probably be worth 4 million now. And I'm not even exaggerating. It's not for sale anymore, obviously, and I don't know if that's just the Pacific Northwest, but real estate in Hawaii it's pretty high, but like compared to Washington, whereas you'll get like a tiny little plot of land with a tiny little house on it for like $800,000 and you're like puking in your mouth at the thought of it. In Hawaii, $800,000 is still so much money. I could like literally throw up in my own face right now. But in Hawaii, you're at least surrounded by jungle and beach and water, and it's just like you can't have a bad location there. And so it's crazy for me to even talk about moving to Hawaii because it's just like a dream that I don't think I'll ever be able to fulfill. I don't know if I could ever leave my family. I don't know the word to use. I have like really bad fear of missing out. And I also don't like the feeling of regret. Since Avery was born, it was a goal of mine to always be really present in her life and always be there for her and to have a lot of time together, because I think for myself personally, and everybody is different in what they want out of their life, but for me, my family is really important to me. And they're all like, do what you want, move, it's okay. And I'm like, no, I can't miss a Christmas play. I don't know, I'm at this like internal battle with myself where I feel like I don't even know what to do. It's crazy that I went on 1 week away and I'm like, I don't know who I am anymore. It just made me look at my life, and I don't know if you guys ever go through like periods like this, but I'm in one right now. And I go through YOLO moments. We were in Hawaii and I was talking about how I live my life by the motto of YOLO. And I really do. As dumb as it sounds, because YOLO is such like a cringy meme thing, like, oh, YOLO, bro. If you really listen to what it's saying, you only live once. When you say YOLO, it's like, okay, duh, shut up. But when you really listen to what it's saying and then you think about what it really is, and that's you only live once, it becomes something to live by. Because at least for me, when I live my life that way and I go, okay, well, I could have this drink right now. It's a pineapple juice inside of a pineapple with a bunch of rum in it, and it was a good time. I could have this right now, but I probably shouldn't. Or I go, you only live once. It really does change your perspective on things a little bit. It changed mine at least. It makes me live in the moment a little bit more than always overthinking everything. So when I started thinking about, well, why don't I live there? Or why don't I do what I want to do because of what I always set limitations on myself, and I have like all these what ifs. But then I think about the fact that I only live once, and that, have any of my decisions that I've made that were pretty impulsive, have they ever ruined my life? So far, no. Have any of them bettered my life? Yeah, I think I've learned a lot of lessons from things that I've done in my life. Have any of them been something that I can't go back on? Well, so far, no, because even if I think about it like this, even if I bought a house that I didn't love, well, you can sell it. You can rent it out. You can Airbnb it. There's so many different things you can do. So if I only live once, what am I waiting for? And it always does feel, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I've had some revelations in the last month. And that it always feels in life, in any season of my life at least, and I don't know if this is the same for you, but I'd love to know, does it always feel like you're waiting for the thing, for the something big to happen that's going to be the thing? Well, I think, and this is just because of my age now and what I've gone through in my life, and that I always feel like the thing that I was waiting for is the next thing. What if there is no thing that's going to make us feel that way? What if that feeling is always going to be there? And that's why I think that we always give ourselves something to strive for that's bigger than us. Like, there's never really a point that you get to where you're like, all right, I've reached it. Because once you get to that ultimate happiness, you go, well, what now? And there's always something more. And I think that's like the great paradigm of life, where you go, well, if I'm never going to get to a point where I feel like, this is it. Because if you get to that point, well, then what are you doing? What's the point to life? I mean, if you get to a point where you're like, and that's it, ultimate happiness achieved, I can die now. So I don't know if that feeling ever does go away. And I think most of our lives are spent trying to get rid of that feeling. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm making any sense right now. Gotta get rid of that. This video got weirdly deep really fast. Will I always pine for something until I do it? And I'm kind of that bitch. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I fixate on things and I can't really get my mind off of them until I achieve them. And then once I do, I'm like, okay, it either was or wasn't all it was cracked up to be. And how do you know until you do it? And also, what's stopping us from doing any of the stuff that we want to achieve? And I don't know the answer to that question. What I do know is that I'm doing my lips before I do my eyes. I don't know why I'm doing any of this, okay? I'm doing things in a weird order and I'm happy about it. I'm at a point in my life where I'm ready to live without the fear of the what ifs, because I live my life very what if based. But not that I want to completely let go of that what if, because I think that's just, it's a part of who I am. I think it's important to not fixate on it like I generally do, and then not do the things I want to do because I'm afraid to do them, but more or less find the solutions to the problems that I am asking myself and then just go for it. Like, I am afraid to move away from my family because I'm afraid I'll never see my family. Well, then make an effort to come see your family. Because if I really think about it, it's not like we see each other every single day. I love them with my whole heart. They know I love them with my whole heart. But we're pretty independent people. We all kind of live our lives and do our thing. And then at times we see each other super often. And then other times we go like a month without seeing each other, or 2 months even, where we text each other and we let each other know that we're still around and we're doing good, and we check in with each other and keep each other accountable. But we live our own lives. And so sometimes I'm like sitting there thinking, well, I don't know what I would do. It's like, Kristi, it's not perfectly unreasonable to think that you could go home every other month. You know what I mean? You could come visit and stay for a week or something, and that's not out of the question. And so I always think of worst case scenario in my mind. I'm such a worry-wart. My mom always said that about me back in the day. Like, I'm such a worry-wart. I worry about everything. And I do. I overthink everything because I'm always trying to think of every possible scenario, every possible outcome. I talk myself out of a lot of things because of the possibilities of, you know, oh, what if, and then I talk myself out of it. And I remember, and I've talked about this before, but I remember it was probably about 3 or 4 years ago. I was sitting in my downstairs room. I remember it so distinctly. And it was a fear that I had. I wanted to go to Generation Beauty. This is such a weird thing, but I wanted to go to Gen Beauty, and I had nobody to go with. I didn't know anybody in the industry. I had no friends in the industry. And I posted a video talking about social anxiety and fears surrounding it. And all of you guys uplifted me and said, just go. And don't overthink it. Just have a good time and don't worry so much. And I bet you'll be glad you did. And that was the first time that I faced my fears in that way, and I just went and I said, screw it, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna try to have a good time. And I had a fabulous time. And I was so glad that I went because I feel like it opened me up to new things in my life. And now I'm not afraid of going to events at all. I don't get anxiety anymore. I don't get flight anxiety. I used to throw up every time I would get on a plane. I was so sick. I was so nervous. I was so anxious, and I don't get like that at all anymore. And it's a face your fears until you overcome them and they're not even fears anymore type of a thing. And that was me with the zip lines in Hawaii. I'm super afraid of heights. Like, I hate them so much. I get no enjoyment out of going fast, adrenaline. I don't like that feeling, but I miss out on a lot because I'm too afraid. And a lot of times I used to just be like, nope, not doing it. And so instead of facing my fears, I let them take a hold of me. And then I let those fears like define a part of my personality. I was like, no, I don't like those things. So instead of letting that be the case, I do my best to work through them. I'm a person who doesn't like airplanes. I don't want that to be like a defining characteristic of Kristi, you know? And so instead of letting that be the case, instead of being like, I don't like flights, so I don't take them, I just have gone on like 50 different flights. And even though I don't want to go, I go anyway. And even though I don't want to go on the ride, I go anyway. And even though I don't want to go in the haunted house, I go anyway, because for me, it's what got me over a lot of my irrational fears. I have a lot of irrational fears. I used to, and it's still there, but I'm trying to get over it. I have a very big fear of my husband dying. And I think it's just because I love him really, really deeply. I mean, the deepest parts of my soul, he's my soulmate. Like, I love him so. You guys can see that. It's a thing. I don't want him to die. Of course I don't want him to. But I would let it get to a point where I couldn't even sleep. After he left for work in the morning, I would obsess over the fact, like, did he get in a car crash? Did he make it to work safely? Like, is he okay? And I would always stress about it constantly to an unhealthy level, to where it was like I had no reason to feel that way, just other than if something bad's gonna happen, it's gonna happen to me. And then I realized that things weren't happening to me. I was always like, well, if somebody's gonna get a side effect of this medication, it's gonna be me, because I'm very sensitive to medications. And then I would take the medication and I would like think that it was killing me, and then it really wasn't. And then I realized that a lot of it comes from my mind. So I just started trying to get to a point where I wasn't ruining myself with my what if thoughts. And then I realized my husband can go to the store and he's okay. He's not gonna die. I am going to be fine on this airplane. It's not going to come crashing to the ground. What's the likelihood of that happening? And it's pretty unlikely. Bad things do happen, but more good things happen than bad things on the daily, especially in my life and especially with my experience. And I can't live my life always wondering what if. And it's okay to wonder in some situations, but I had to get to a point where it wasn't like all consuming me at all hours. And it really has gotten so much better by just accepting the fact that, like, if something's out of my control, it's going to be out of my control. But me stressing about it, like that quote says, stressing about something is putting yourself through the pain of it twice. Like, if my husband were to get in a crash, what is me stressing about it going to do? Well, it's going to make me sick the whole time thinking that it's going to happen. And then if it did happen, I'm twice as ruined from it. But if I just relax a little bit and take things one day at a time and not worry about all the what ifs and outcomes, while still worrying a healthy amount, I don't have to put myself through hell twice. And a lot of my life has gotten better by relaxing a little bit. That's something my dad says all the time. So we like, relax a little bit. And it used to make me mad because I'm like, don't tell me what to do. You're not my real dad, even though you are. But it used to make me mad because I'm like, I'm fine. And it's like, no, you're not. You're stressing out about everything. Because I'm such a worrywart, as my mom used to say, that I do that with every avenue of everything. And I still do it. Like, even this whole thing, like if I do move and it is outside of Washington, which, let's be real, I don't know if it will be. There's everything. There's, bringing my cats with me and having to get their rabies vaccine updated, and then getting their titer done, and then getting them on the plane, and then getting them over there, and then making sure that they, don't get quarantined, because I couldn't be away from my children. And there's so many different things that I still have already overthought to the point where I'm like, well, it's never gonna happen. So I'm trying to get out of that, but it's hard to break a habit you've been doing for 31 years. By the way, these are the Koko Lashes Venus, and they've become probably my ultimate favorite lash. I think Risque are right up there. And I know this is horrifying, you guys. I've had so many people be like, Kristi, you need to get a new eyelash glue. The brush is the only bad part. The eyelash glue is still fine, so I'm gonna use it until it's gone. This is the pure eyelash glue, by the way. But these lashes have become such a favorite that, I don't know, they're like nearly perfect for me because they're curly and they're like slightly spiky, but also like wispy in a way. They're like beautiful. So one thing I would love to hear from you guys, I would love your feedback on this. Just as a wondering, have any of you moved away from your hometown, from where you are accustomed? And have any of you experienced regret doing that? Have any of you experienced that it's been like amazing? Just tell me how you feel. I love to hear other people's experience because I think that's a really important way that we can make decisions for ourselves is, seeing every side and not trying to overthink it, but also not trying to be impulsive Kristi where you put an offer on the first house that you walk into. Trying to just be a more balanced person with my emotions, with my life in general, and also do what I want to do and not scare myself out of it. Trying to be very balanced in all areas, and I'll tell you what, it's exhausting. As far as my weight is concerned, as many of you know, I've been on Keto, which is the ketogenic diet, for 2 years now. And initially for the first 3 months, I lost 40 pounds immediately. I was also on metformin during that time, and I do wonder if that was really helping me in shedding the pounds because I do have PCOS or polycystic ovarian syndrome, and I have insulin resistance. So I think just from myself personally, while I was on the metformin, and I'm not on it anymore, my doctor took me off of it because all my numbers went back down to normal. When I was on metformin during that time, I do feel like that is one thing that really helped me shed the weight quicker because I lost 40 pounds in 3 months. I mean, that's really fast. But I became a huge proponent of the keto lifestyle. Still am. I love it so much. But over the last, I'd say like 6 months, so like Christmas time and during the holidays, I let myself go a little bit. I just ate whatever I wanted and ate cookies if I wanted them, and I had Thanksgiving dinner with my family. I just kind of did whatever I wanted, and I YOLO'd my Christmas away, and that was not good. I don't want to always just live as though life is a party. I want to try to eat as healthy as possible, and then, you know, indulge when you're on vacation instead of just indulging 24/7. So I let myself get to a point where I had gained some weight back, and not all of it. Some people want to say that I gained all of it back. Absolutely not. I gained back a portion of it, and I think I gained back like 15 pounds, which is not good, but it's not like absolutely horrific. It's not that bad. And I got to a point where I started feeling really down about my weight and really self-conscious. I made a video about that recently, that I had been having issues with my self-confidence, especially after that horrific massage that I got, where that guy was basically telling me for 50 minutes that I needed to lose weight. That was really fun. A good time in my life. So I decided I really wanted to get serious. Not because I felt bad on the brand trip. In fact, I felt very confident on the brand trip. I didn't care what I looked like. I just had a really good time. Nobody was rude. Everyone was very kind. I never felt like I was surrounded by like perfect people with like incredible bodies. Like they all looked great, but I just felt very secure in myself on that trip. Again, it was an ideal week. I felt really good about myself. But I want to get healthy. And it's not just about weight. You know, it's all about like, I want to have endurance. I want to treat my body respectfully, and putting a bunch of shit into it all the time, like, it's not doing that. And I just was like starting to get like heartburn. I was like, you know what, this isn't worth it. I feel so good when I eat keto that it makes sense for me to just like do it and do it the way that I'm supposed to. One thing to keep in mind is that when you do the ketogenic lifestyle, it's really easy to fall into unhealthy keto behavior. It's almost like when I was vegetarian, all I ate was fucking noodles. And you can do that with keto too. You can either eat the right way, which is like healthy proteins and tons of veggies and healthy fats, and there's a lot of things that you can do, and drinking a ton of water and exercising, or you can eat beef and cheese on low carb tortillas dipped in sour cream. There are a couple of different ways you can do it, and I was kind of becoming the sour cream keto bitch, if I'm being honest. So over the last like 6 months, I quit intermittent fasting, which if you don't know what intermittent fasting is, there's so much I could get into, but there's a ton of information online about it. I had quit intermittent fasting. I quit eating healthy, and I was just eating whatever, as long as it was like relatively low carb. I wasn't tracking anything. That was that. I wasn't exercising, I wasn't drinking enough water, I wasn't sleeping good enough. I was just kind of skating by on keto, but like, let's be real, I really wasn't. And so I decided I'm sick of doing that. I don't like the way that I was feeling, and just feeling like I needed to take a nap midday, and no matter what I did, I felt like my weight was just not, you know, budging. And of course it wasn't. Like, why would it? So I just decided last week to go back into keto and go hard. Katie really inspired me, like Luster Lux here. She really inspired me because she does it right. And so I saw one of her recipes, which is like that coconut chicken recipe. And I was like, you know what, fuck this. I'm going back to keto, and I'm going hard. And for the last 7 full days, I have done keto perfectly. I wanted to talk about it a little bit in case you're interested, or in case you're trying to eat healthier. She has one tip that has changed my life in the last 7 days, and that is that no matter what meal you eat, and you can adopt this too, even if you don't do keto, if you're just trying to eat healthier, no matter what meal you eat, put it on a bed of greens. Wow, 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 what a difference. If you're eating eggs, toss them on top of a bed of greens. If you're eating chicken, on top of a bed of greens. If you're eating, you know, anything in general, whatever you want to do, whatever you're eating, you have to eat on a whole bunch of greens. And when I say greens, I'm eating like the spring mix that's in like the plastic box. I toss mine with either a little bit of like vinegar and oil, a little salt and pepper, or you can do like a Caesar dressing on it, and I dilute it with lemon juice so that it's like really tangy. Wow, what a difference. What a difference in my health that I feel. My energy is through the roof, and I've lost 6 pounds in the last week. I just feel very healthy. Even if I wasn't losing weight, man, I feel like I'm doing right by my body. I'm drinking a ton of water. I'm exercising now. I don't need to take a nap during the day. And that's just all happened in the last week. What a difference. I feel very balanced, and I don't feel like constantly hungry. It's gotten really good. And I've done intermittent fasting again, and there's this app that I've really been into using, and it's called Zero. I don't know if you guys can see, it's right here. It's called Zero. That is the app that I've been using. I found out about this app from Dr. Rhonda Patrick, who is, I think she's a microbiologist, and she said that it's an app created by actually one of her buddies, and it's an intermittent fasting app. So if you do intermittent fasting, or if it's something you've been interested in, I've looked at a ton of case studies on it, and it's so fascinating to me how incredible it is, not just for weight loss in general, but just for appetite, for health, for fat burning, for increasing muscle mass, and just making you perform overall better. It's an incredible thing. And I never knew all of the health benefits that it had. I had done it for like almost a year straight, but when I started learning more about why it's so good, oh my gosh. So I've been doing it for the last week, and you can log your fasts in that app. It's a totally free app. It doesn't ask you for any in-app purchases or anything. You can link it up with your health app as well. In the app, you say like start fast, and that's like after your last meal of the day, you click start fast. It starts a timer, and in that timer, it starts counting how long you've been fasting for. And then when you start eating the next day, you say like end fast, and then it'll tell you how long you went for. And it has different ones in there. So you can do like the circadian rhythm fast, which is like only eating when the sun is up, which is very healthy for our bodies apparently. Lately, I've been doing like a 17-hour fast. So like most of that is when I'm sleeping hours, and then I don't eat until like noon. Anything that I talk about, I highly always suggest talking to your doctor about. I have spoken with my doctor at length about nutrition and what I choose to eat, and I've actually had them recommend eating this way for me, and it's been very beneficial for me, but it may not be beneficial for everyone. So before ever going into anything, please always speak to your doctor, because I don't know your specific health concern, but there's a lot of studies to suggest that a lot of people can implement it even in small ways into their daily life without causing issues, because it's not about not eating for 40 hours at a time, or not eating for days at a time. It's about still eating the full amount of what you would normally eat calorically and nutritionally, but just eating it within a smaller window. I've discovered personally that I have more energy, more mental clarity, less pain, more focus, and more weight loss, and just better productivity, and not nearly that crash that I was feeling. And I think that's it. This is the makeup finished for the video. I really like this makeup. I just feel so natural and pretty in this. I will have all of the products that I use listed in the description of this video. And I'm sorry I didn't talk about everything, but this is kind of my go-to makeup lately, and I really, really love it. It's just super simple, but I feel like really striking and pretty at the same time, really bronzy, and it goes with my terribly done self-tanner. Look at where the line just stops. It's like, oh, okay, well, I hope this video was somewhat interesting to watch and that it wasn't too rambly. I tried something new today. I took MCT oil powder just like right before filming this in a little bit of coffee, and apparently it's supposed to like give you energy and mental clarity and focus. And let me tell you, I feel like I couldn't shut the hell up in this video. So maybe it's placebo, maybe it's not really working, but if it is, I feel really energized right now. Again, I will have everything that I talked about linked in the description of this video. I thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you have not yet, and I will see you at my next video. Bye! Hello. That's cool too, but also a little hurtful, so I'm gonna re-say that joke again because I said hurtful. I wouldn't leave your self-tanner. I wouldn't leave a self-tanner on salon. Not even... Hang on, I've got a fucking hair. Oh my god, there's like cat hair all over my face. Actually, that sounds awful. God, there's cat hair all over my face. Where is my lash glue? Huh? Why is that the one thing I lose every time? Every time. I don't know if I've ever not lost it. It's like, I know it's right here. I know it is. Really? You're gonna do me like this, huh? You're gonna just... Are Found it. So I have been on key. I've been on key. See, I just had them and they're gone. It's like it's like crazy how I lose so much. And there's nothing on my table. Like, where is it? And that's kind of the way we should be eating. And I said the baby. But I hope this video was somewhat interesting to watch. I just heard a cat.